Welcome back, everyone, to the best comics I haven't heard of, part 31. Let's talk about how to do the Man of Steel justice with Superman Birthright, written by Mark Waid. Superman Birthright is a modernized retelling of Superman's origin story that centers around Clark's realization that trying to help the world as a journalist isn't enough, after an attempt to help a political activist in Ghana ends badly. And thus, with the help of his ma and pa, he starts conceptualizing not just the persona of Superman itself, but also the persona of Clark Kent, and how to integrate into the city metropolis with his new identities. This catches the attention of Lex Luthor, who decides to weaponize fear and propaganda as his first and most powerful weapon against the Man of Steel. Yeah, as far as Superman stories go, it's pretty familiar territory, but where it stands out is in its characterizations. These are honestly some of the best interpretation of these characters that have ever existed ever, and quite frankly, I don't know why they don't bring on Mark Waid to write Superman more often. Not only does it do an effortless job of justifying some of the more outlandish aspects of Superman, but it also does so without insulting the audience and providing a ton of emotional depth to all the book's major players, including Lex Luthor, whose revamped origin gives him much more to work with than we typically see. Welcome back, everyone, to the best comics you haven't heard of, part 32. Let's dive into a classic Hollywood icon with Lugosi by Corin Shimi. Lugosi serves as a graphic biography of Bela Lugosi, the first actor ever to play Dracula on screen and has remained a horror icon ever since. The book follows his early days as an actor and activist in Hungary and tracks the rise and fall of his career, through his debut as the famous vampire, all the way to his less reputable roles he did with Ed Wood, known as one of the worst directors of all time. Choosing a warts and all approach, this story has no problem going into great detail about Dela's greatest struggles, some that were through no fault of his own, while many others were a result of his own hubris. Lugosi tells the story of a complex horror icon and all the personal struggles that came with such a label. And while many of the decisions that led to his downfall were due to his inability to control his worst impulses, it's still hard not to see his life and how it ended as tragic all its own. A sad end to a man that redefined what horror meant in cinema forever. If you consider yourself a fan of horror or just cinema in general, then you owe it to yourself to read this captivating, nuanced take on one of its greatest icons. Highly recommend. It's time to talk superheroes and mental health with Eternity Girl by Magdalene Visaggio. Eternity Girl stars Caroline Sharp, also known as Chrysalis, who has the power to rewrite every atom in her body and was part of a superhero team called Alpha 13. Unfortunately, Caroline has been benched from hero work due to her increased inability to control her powers, but that's far from her biggest concern. Her greatest struggle is much more personal, as her deteriorating mental health has convinced her that her life has no value and she wants to end it. But due to the nature of her powers, doing so is literally impossible despite her repeat efforts. That is, until a ghostly visage of her longtime rival Madame Atom visits her with a proposition: end all of time and space, and you can finally die. What follows is a trippy and heartfelt exploration of the struggles of depression and suicidal ideation, captured through surreal imagery and poignant dialogue mixed with an extremely meta-narrative. It's very rare to see these sensitive topics tackled with such grace, where the very real struggle with these dark thoughts is treated as a long ongoing issue as opposed to a single bad moment that can be solved with a speech. And we're back, and here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 34. Let's talk about ethics and journalism with Lois Lane, Enemy of the People, written by Greg Rucka. Lois Lane stars, who else? Lois Lane, as she uncovers a massive conspiracy that goes to the highest level of international power and threatens to rewrite what everyone perceives to be true. As such, it isn't long until she puts a massive target on her back, with some seeking to kill her, while others seek to ruin her reputation. So she hires Renee Montoya, aka The Question, to help her find the evidence she needs and tell the truth the world needs to hear. It should be no surprise that a modern story about Lois Lane has to be about what it means to actually seek out the truth in the modern age, where that truth can so easily be manipulated by bad faith actors to serve whatever narrative they want. Luckily, Greg Rucka delivers in telling a compelling conspiracy thriller that dives into exactly what that means, and the importance of choosing the right moment to say what needs to be said. It is more lore heavy than I expected, and there's some obscure characters in there even I need to look up, but if you're down for the ride, it's a great read. Highly recommend. And as always, everyone, if you like this video, make sure to like, share, comment, and follow for more so I can more of these down the line. Until then, I will see you all in the next one. Take care. Welcome back, everyone, to the best comics I haven't heard of, part 35. Let's talk about the story of our lives with Day Tripper, written by Fabio Moon and Gabriel Ba. Day Tripper stars Brás de Olivia Domingos, the son of a legendary Brazilian writer who writes obituaries for a living. But his life is cut tragically short during one fateful night. By forces unknown, he is made to relive key days of his past life and the life that could have been, whether that's a day as a child in his grandparents' home, or being visited by his son as an old man. As far as stories go, it's a pretty simple setup, but what lies within is a deep meditation about life and death, and when our life truly begins. It's about the inherent narrative we tell ourselves about our own lives, and how so much of it is wasted trying to find one moment that defines it, that creates it, when the reality is that so many do, and we never take the time to appreciate it. In Day Tripper, each day ends the same, but that just means each day carries meaning, as we never know when it will be our last. This is a wonderful story about finding beauty in all of life's victories and defeats, and if you're looking for something that helps you find meaning in the big and small, this might be just a story for you. Highly recommend. Welcome back, everyone. Here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 36. Let's dive into some deep conspiracy with Rorschach, written by Tom King. Taking place 35 years after the events of the original Watchmen, Rorschach stars an unnamed detective who is called in to investigate the attempted assassination of a presidential candidate committed by two assassins, one of whom was dressed up as a titular character. As it turns out, this would-be Rorschach is a legendary comic writer named Will Myerson, who was dragged into this world by a woman named Laura Cummings. This conspiracy goes so much deeper than anyone realizes, as the detective soon discovers a cult-like worship of the infamous vigilante, which has dragged more prolific people than anyone could have guessed. Rorschach focuses on the blurred lines between fantasy and reality, how seemingly reasonable people can be pulled into insane conspiracy with the promise of purpose, and how well-known, and often misinterpreted, figurehead can be used to lead such a deadly charge. There's also a big piece of this that's inspired by a real thing that actually happened, which is just crazy to me. It's a Tom King book, so there's obviously a lot more to it than that, but if you want to find out what, you just gotta read it for yourself. Highly recommend. Welcome back, everyone. Here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 37. Let's dive into DC's more obscure characters with Wonder Twins, written by Mark Russell. Wonder Twins stars Zane and Zaina, alien immigrants from the planet Exor who come to Earth under the guise of Superman in order to become superheroes of their own. The 12-issue run follows these heroes as they become quickly aware of how unjust and unkind the world around them appears to be. In doing so, they will face off against what can be charitably described as Z-list DC villains, including the League of Annoyance, the Scrambler, and Colonel 86, as they struggle to figure out how to deliver real justice in an unjust world. While most attempts at rebooting the Wonder Twins usually creates more serious takes, Mark Russell's interpretation gleefully revels in the cheesy nature of the characters, and uses it to deliver quite possibly the sharpest social satire I might have ever read. Not only is the book hilarious and clever from beginning to end, but it also has a lot to say about what making a real difference in the world would actually take. What it would mean to actually treat people humanely, and how to start fixing the problems brought on by previous generations. Welcome back, everyone. Here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 38. Let's dive into the struggle of immigrant families with The Best We Can Do, written by T. Bowie. The Best We Can Do is an illustrated memoir that details the life of T and her family. The story starts with her giving birth to her first child, which inspires her to reflect not just her own life, but the lives of her parents as well. What follows is a retelling of her parents' real-life stories of surviving through the fall of South Vietnam in the 1970s, and how they eventually immigrated to the US, as well as T's own experiences growing up with parents who have experienced more than she ever realized. It's a very poignant and personal examination of T's experience as a child of refugee immigrants and recontextualizing everything she thought she knew about her parents after becoming a mother herself. I would put this with Maus in regards to retelling a personal perspective on an important historical event, while also exploring the sacrifices and difficulties parents face while trying to give their children the best life they can. It's at times hard to read, and the emotions feel real and raw, but it is essential reading for those looking to learn from the past in order to create a better future. Highly recommend. Welcome back, everyone. Here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 39. Let's dive into the world of conspiracies with The Department of Truth, written by James Tynion IV. The Department of Truth stars FBI agent Cole Turner, whose life is turned upside down when he discovers the horrifying truth behind conspiracy theories. That if enough people believe them, they become true. Quite literally, as it turns out, as he is initially taken to the edge of the flat earth by a shadowy organization. But he is soon intercepted and recruited into the secret government entity, the Department of Truth, charged with eliminating any appearing evidence of conspiracies before they can build enough support to become reality. Yeah, this book will fuck with your head a little bit, but it's definitely worth it. Because within the trippy concept and even trippier art lies a poignant and thorough deconstruction of the nature of conspiracies, how they're created, how they gain popularity, and why they're so dangerous. This series very openly and explicitly draws from the most dangerous conspiracy theories to rise the last couple decades to provide the most clear warning to its readers to their destructive power, all while telling a rich, engaging story where you never know who to fully trust and what to fully believe. It's a fascinating series that really plays with the concept of reality and how susceptible we all are to. Welcome back, everyone. Here are the best comics I haven't heard of, part 40. Let's talk cute dogs and horror with Stray Dogs, written by Tony Fleece and Trish Forster. Stray Dogs stars a cute little dog named Sophie, who finds herself in the care of a man who seems to collect rescue dogs. And because of Dog's natural short-term memory, she doesn't remember much of her life before arriving. Everything seems cute and Disney-esque at first, but things take a dark turn when the discovery of a scarf makes Sophie remember something terrible. Her lady is dead, and their master killed her. From there, it's a dark and twisted horror story, as all the dogs grapple with how to handle this news and question their own memories as they work to uncover the truth. First of all, gotta give props to one of the greatest rug pulls I've read in recent comics. Aw, look at the cute little puppies that drawn like Disney characters. Aren't they so cute? Murder! But seriously, this is a very clever little horror story that uses the unique memory of dogs to play with the reader's perception of reality. The art in particular really sets the tone and the tone shift to masterfully play with your expectations and create a truly unique horror experience.